Chapter 8. The End of the Conspiracy. Well, what on earth is going on? A main asked. It was well understood that Eri and Mikami had done something behind the scenes, and the Kamidake and Fuku were used as a decoy, but they didn't know what was going on with Sana. There's no doubt that we were used too. They already knew Sana's whereabouts too. In order to inform those who used the Kamidake and Fuku, Ms. Kuriko, it seems that the GP Army ship, Queen, is headed in our direction. Ah, that's Kara Yoichi's fleet. What is he up to? If Nikita is involved in this case, this is probably related to the GP and GP Army's funding. Sito is involved too, no doubt. Her ploy must have used the Kamidake as a decoy, but Fuku and Sana got involved. Oh, when I get my hands on her. Oh! Is that? It is. Mizuki cried. Mizuki, what's up? Mizuki didn't answer Kuriko's question. The ship jumped out from super space navigation to normal space instead. Kuriko and the others checked their current position. They were on Mizuki's bridge. The layout was similar to the Kamidake number 1, and the placement of the girls was similar. The operator's seat was for Kuriko since she was captain. Everyone else sat in front of her. Current position is within the target solar system, near the 5th planet. I'm reading a high energy output and a spatial quake at the target point. The Triple Z has been deployed. Is the quake from the Mikagami? No, it's something different. What is that? Kuriko-sama. Something's coming out of hyperspace. It's close. Hakuran announced. The Mikagami suddenly jumped out near Mizuki. Hello, Sito. What's going on? Quickly. Come here. Dock Mizuki in the pool. Sito instructed. Kuriko did so without hesitation. Mikami. Why are you here? Tama yelled. Mikami silently displayed the nameplates of his comrades. What is the meaning of this? Tama quickly contacted the people on the nameplates, but no one answered. Kara Yoichi was the only one left, but a mark that indicated he was away on a special mission was floating on his nameplate. It was an indication that a massive battle or a similar situation had occurred. What is he doing? What is going on? Tama, you're not in a position to know that anymore. Mikami's tone was calm, but she was talking down to Tama. Mikami, I'm a candidate to be the next president of Koromitsu's Elders Association. Don't be rude. You would be if you hadn't committed a serious offense against the Galactic Federation, Senua, the GP, and the GP military organizations. In particular, your behind-the-curtains dealing with Shank was overkill, Tama. It made all the witnesses and evidence we gathered a huge waste of time. However, if you would like to bow out with dignity worthy of Senua and honoring the army, then I suggest you retire soon. What? Tama realized immediately that it would be useless to try to escape. I have no regrets. I wanted Senua to be a country equivalent to Jurai, like it was before. And I wanted to make the army whole again, to restore it to the glorious organization built by its original master. The nature and role of Senua and Jurai are different, just as the GP and the Academy are different. Juraians are slaves to the royal trees despite their power. For us there is no such limit. The fact is that when my father was already building the GP army, the framework of the world had grown much larger. Jurai had been separated from that framework and Senua wanted to assimilate it. Senua became the organization itself, so it's impossible to restore it to its former state. It never quit being that. Well, what about those who built it? The army wasn't as important as it used to be. For those who knew the glory of its past, it was very different after the change, and it was difficult to accept that. Ideally, the military would be unnecessary. Its existence is only a necessary evil. You're acting like a child. We can walk on our own now. We don't need our parents' help to get around. Don't be silly. He said that not to Mikami, but to those who advocated that the military was unnecessary. Parents don't get mad at their children for being able to be independent, but there is no way that the essence of the thing called the army itself will ever be unnecessary. Their role just changes. We slowly adapted to the role of security maintenance and distribution, and then the GP took over almost all of that in almost all areas of the Galactic Federation. The military has been absorbed into the framework of the GP. The GP has gotten dangerously big, it's dominating the world, but the Koromitsu's role in it has become smaller and smaller. The fight between the new ways of things and the old ways is an eternal theme that has been around since creation. No matter how anxious we are about it, everything ends eventually. It's miraculous in a way. Finally, Tama went silent. What do you think of him, Tama? How do you view Seina Yamada? I don't dislike him personally. If I had a chance, I'd do all the same things as him. He has been given a great deal of power. Not everyone can handle that. He seems to be doing the best he can to use the power he's acquired when he's given the chance. It's amazing that he hasn't been crushed by his own unreasonable bad luck. Sometimes it seems like it's no big deal to him. He even uses it when he can. Tama's anger fell rapidly. He realized that Yamada Seina was just a boy who got caught up in his plans for glory. As an individual soldier, Seina and his career history were worthy of respect. He was glad to see such a wonderful newcomer join the ranks until he had become his enemy. Oh yeah, I guess an adult like me should protect a child like him. His viewpoint changed. Tama looked as if his soul had left his body. I understand. I will withdraw from all my positions. Good. Oh, and I'm sorry for involving Nikita. Who? Terrent breathed roughly. He had finally managed to escape. But he noticed the trembling of his ship wasn't stopping. His face distorted in horror. I was supposed to have the Kamadake. And Kirchi. And Seina Yamada's life. All his plans had blown up in his face. Tears spilled from his eyes. You've got to be kidding me. He banged his fist on the console over and over, took a deep breath and collapsed into his captain's chair. Seina Yamada, I will kill you. No matter what. The Deadless stopped suddenly. Terrent was thrown forward. The inertial controls and safety devices failed to stop him completely, and he banged into the wall with his robotic arm shielding him, but he was seriously injured. The other crew members looked like blood-splattered flies on the wall. What now? Terrent looked up at the monitor and couldn't say anything anymore. What he saw went beyond his tolerance. A huge hand engulfed the Deadless. Hey, will someone tell me what the hell that is? Kara Yoichi murmured, but not to anyone specifically. ZNV was on the screen dragging the Deadless out of empty space about 400 meters away. It was difficult to recognize proportions in space, but from the contrast between ZNV and the Deadless, the scene was clearly abnormal. One of the adjutants looked at the chief operator, but he said nothing. The readings displayed on the monitor said everything there was to say, as did the scene on the screen. In encounters with high-level dimensional life forms, phenomena that seem to break our physical laws are observed. What are you saying? They're going to have to rewrite the laws of physics themselves after this. Even the physical laws that should be basic concepts are being violated. I heard from a philosopher something like this happened once in the past, but I never thought I'd see it. Tell the other ships to stop immediately and cease all attacks. What? They hesitated a moment before they stood down and silently stopped their efforts to object. Commander. I don't want to be a... Huh? What? On the monitor, the Deadless, which had been dragged out, was being compressed. Like ZNV's right hand was swallowing its mass. Jigatejai GG. GG. The vibrational sounds of Deadless picked up by the sensors were those that people who live in space most physiologically disliked. It was the sound of death caused by a hull collapse. Suddenly the Deadless exploded. Oh. It spread like fireworks shot into space, and the residuals of the energy from that spread far and wide as if to celebrate ZNV's victory. Vuo. Vigeo u-o-o. ZNV raised its right hand in victory and gave the roar of a champion. Well, that's the end of the Deadless, one of the adjutants muttered with deep emotion. Everyone belonging to the GP wanted to see that. The roar of ZNV seemed to sublimate joy in the hearts of those who were there. But for Kara Yoichi, the feeling was different. We can't let Seina Yamada continue like this. It will be the death of us all. Is it possible to communicate with those riding in it? Large humanoid weapons were used in Renza, but as it had light hawk wings and used the ZZZ, there was a high possibility that they were from Jurai. That's right. Seina Yamada is probably on board. We need to capture him. Kara Yoichi smiled. Capture those who are on that thing. Capture? It interfered with our duties. They obstructed public officials. They're using unknown weapons, and only a royal tree can generate light hawk wings. They brought an unauthorized royal ship into this non-invasive zone without prior notification. That's a felony. One of the adjutants who was communicating with someone far away from the fight was brought closer to Commander Yoichi. Commander, I have a message incoming from the temporary general commander of the GP Army headquarters, Mikami Kuramitsu. Mikami Kuramitsu. Commander, what happened? Kara Yoichi glared at the adjutant with bloodshot eyes. This hasn't been announced formally yet, but it seems that it has been decided that the Senoan Elders Council president is officially Minami Kuramitsu. But, Tama. A retirement declaration has been issued, and he has retired from all official duties. That meant that his conspiracy was revealed. Perhaps the other executives had also already been eliminated in the form of retirement. Of course, he was next. No, there's no way. They said, the operation is over, please leave it to us to clean up afterwards. His plan and career were officially dead and buried. I'm going to go rest in my quarters if anyone needs me. The soldiers saluted the former commander with the highest gratitude as he left the bridge.